what's going on, y'all? T-Bob here.
And Jake as well.
And you're about to watch a little OTB LSU.
We're going to give you all the latest, greatest between LSU football, baseball, women's basketball, softball, and everything in between.
Bottom line, if you want to talk Tigers, keep it locked, subscribe, like it, and we hope you enjoy the early signing period. Officially kicked off today. If you look at LSU right now in the on-3 composite, like I said, they're number 12. However, on-3 is the highest in LSU's class. As Shea Dixon writes, it's because of the outlier on some guys like Weston Davis, who's an offensive tackle that is a 4-star most, but on-3 has him as a 5-star. C.J. Jackson on-3 has as a top 10 edge rusher. And Ethan Callaway, who's a top 150 prospect, they're a bit higher on than the others. So actually, and on 3, LSU ranks 6th, number 11 on 247 and Rivals, whereas ESPN has them ranked 14, which in the composite puts them at 12. Jake, I think I know your answer, but are you at all worried about LSU not having any consensus 5 stars?
You do know my answer. I'm sure our listeners know my answer. No, I don't. I don't stargaze. I don't star chase. If you didn't have really good football players committed to you, then yeah, I would worry. But you have really good football players committed to you. And look, like currently right now, I'm looking in the portal, and I see, just scrolling once, I see 7 guys that used to be 5-star guys in high school, and now in the portal they're 3 or 4 stars.
Yeah,
right. You kind of get reevaluated once you go into the portal, and guys that they thought were 5-star guys are no longer 5-star guys, and so it happens all the time. And I am never going to judge a class here on this day based off how many 5 stars you do or don't have. Like, do you have good football players? Do you have, like you're talking about, 17 4-stars committed to you, guys that have offers from Alabama and Georgia and Florida State and all the other places? So I think it's a good class. It's a class that's got really good players. It's one where you were able to flip a couple of guys from Texas A&M. And so remember, you still can sign guys in February too. Just because you signed 27 guys, that no longer matters. You can sign up to 85 scholarships. And so it's not done either. And you still are in on some of the guys that are committed elsewhere right now, but kind of opened up their recruitment again that are 5 stars. And so, yeah, again, I know I am lonely on the dance floor here on this take, and a lot of people can point to where I was rated in my high school recruiting days, and maybe that's why, but it's not going to be the say-all, be-all when it comes to this class for me.
Dominic McKinley would be the big one that would be exciting in terms of a name, a 5-star, and would fill a position in need. But again, that won't be until February. Positionally, I do like this class. You talk about Brian Kelly's strengths. We know that BK and Mike Denbrock love tight ends, right? Well, you have the consensus number 1 tight end in the entire country in Trades Green out of Zachary. I mean, Cat's, what, 6'6.5" is what I'm seeing. 6'6.5", 230. Okay, that's obviously very exciting. We mentioned Weston Davis, the big offensive tackle, which, again, LSU seems to be building a bit of a offensive line pipeline here. I mean, the tackle situation is better than I've ever seen it. Ever since, I mean, you Will Campbell, Emory Jones. Oh my God, why am I blanking? 53, my boy, big boy. He was awesome.
Hurd.
Oh yeah, Hurd. Lance Hurd. Now you're gonna add Weston Davis to that mix. I mean, we're talking about cats that could hang as freshmen. You look like you're set there for years to come. Taylor, can you tell me anything about Deshawn McBride? I from Denham Springs, number 4 safety in the entire country. Obviously very exciting because not only is he an NCAA recruit, but as we said, like LSU desperately needs good defensive backs right now, and he checks that box, and he's remained a hard commit even through all the flux and some of the LSU defensive struggles.
Yeah, he's I would probably say better in coverage right now than open field tackling, which is to be expected from a high school kid. He's rangy. He's at 200 pounds right now, but at a 6'2 frame, he could easily play at 220, 225 if you needed him to. Runs all over the field, really, really good speed. So he's a rangy safety back there. They always use the term, which I hate, but it actually kind of fits him. Oh, he's a center fielder out there in the middle of the field. That actually kind of fits his style of play.
He's a beast. I used to call his games with Denham Springs. Really rangy, really good in coverage, like Taylor's saying.
So he's someone certainly excited. I think if we look out of state, and by the way, we want to talk about North Louisiana. One of your top commits in this class is Tylen Singleton. It's a linebacker ranked number 10 in the entire country for linebackers, a top 150 recruit from Manny, Louisiana.
Say Manny.
You have Gabriel Relaford, who you just flipped defensive lineman, again, position of need. Evangel Boy Jake, top 300 recruit, top 25 defensive lineman. So, look, one of the main things that BK did when he came in was wanted to make and kind of reestablish some of those North Louisiana inroads and ties, and Coach O did as well. But, guys like Tackett Curtis and whatnot kind of started to fray there at the end, and BK looks like he has rebuilt some of that connective tissue. Out of state, I know you've talked about this guy a lot, Taylor, but I do find Caden Durham to be very exciting. This is a running back commit, top 10 running back in the entire country. Again, another top 150 player. He's from Duncanville, Texas. How about this? Back-to-back state champ, Jake, in the state championship game.
Oof.
22 carries, 231 yards, and 3 touchdowns in a 49-33 game.
Yeah.
So, a game where they weren't just rolling over this team. He had to perform like that to win a state championship. And, of course, his teammate is DeCorian Moore. So is DeCorian Moore 2025?
Yes.
Okay. And that's a 5-star wide receiver that is very loosely committed to LSU. He's committed to LSU on paper, but then, talks about top 3 and top 5 and everything. So you're in the running for him. But still, Caden Durham seems like an exciting running back prospect coming over from the state of Texas to add to this team in Frank Wilson's room.
Yeah, he took over that state championship game. If you haven't seen the highlights, just go to Twitter and just Google or search. God, I sound so old. Just search his name, and you will see it. It'll pop up right there. And it's a player that's a little bit different than some of the backs that you've had. He's 5'9", like 192, right? And LSU, no matter the coach, they've kind of had some bigger backs for the most part, and that's kind of what you have on this roster with all the backs that you have. They're bigger backs, and we saw some of the young guys get a chance to play this year, so he can be kind of a change of pace back as well.
Colin Hurley is your quarterback commit in the class, just played in the Army All-American game. The thing that I like about Colin Hurley is that he has been really, really all in on LSU throughout the entire process. Now, I'll be fascinated because, more and more nowadays, I think we mentioned this yesterday's show, maybe, I think when you commit out of high school, you still sometimes do commit to just, a school that you loved or a brand, regardless of coach, because you grew up loving them. I think if you're in the transfer portal, you're generally making more business decisions about, money and also playing time, right? So I'll be interested to see, because nobody transfers more than quarterbacks. It's obviously that Colin Hurley has deep, true love for LSU. I'm just interested to see his career play out and how that translates to, does he stay here if he doesn't win starting jobs? Does it lead to him winning the starting job because he has some sort of deeper level of command? I don't know. But if nothing else, I love how vocal of a leader Hurley's already been with this class throughout the entire process.
He's kind of been the guy, and every class has one, where you try to get as many guys to come with you, right? And every class kind of has a leader and is a voice and does his best recruiting job, and he's been committed since November the 4th of 2022.
Yeah.
I mean, so this is a guy that's been committed for a very long time, over a year, and he's kind of been the pinpoint kind of guy when it comes to trying to get everybody else to come and join this class. And he's a top 20 quarterback. I know there's been other quarterbacks that LSU has maybe flirted with when it comes to recruiting, but he stayed rock solid for LSU. So he's a good player, and I think he has to understand that every year a place like LSU is going to add a quarterback. They added one through the portal a couple of days ago with Swan. You know that they've got Collins already, who's only a year ahead of you, and you know they're going to add one again next year. And in fact, they kind of look like they might have a lead on the number 1 quarterback in the country.
Yeah, I mean, that's just, that's just football. That's every single position has to deal with that every single year. Any other great takeaways, Taylor, Mario? I think sometimes you guys are more tapped into recruiting than we are. Any other great takeaways from this LSU class? Some angles you don't think we've discussed yet?
For me, it's a receiver in this class. And if you're like, who has the most boom potential or boom or bust, if you will, in this class, it's probably Jelani Watkins, the 4-star receiver out of Texas. He is blazing fast. He's a little undersized. He's 5'9", 160. But, I mean, T-Bob, it's like we talk about with the big defensive linemen. Oh, they're bigger and stronger than anybody in high school. They may have awful technique. It's the same thing with a route runner, right? I mean, he's faster than everybody. So his routes, though, he runs really good routes. I mean, just sharp cuts. So not only can he beat you with his speed, he is a really good route runner as well. He has good hands. He's a guy that I've watched a few times when his games have been on TV. So Jelani Watkins from Texas, he's a guy that I'm keeping an eye on.
Yeah, top 300 recruit, top 50 receiver, according to consensus. So, returner potential there, yeah. LSU, I mean, we got to find one eventually, right? Like, I mean, there's a lot out there. Eventually, you got to find one guy who can field kicks and become a threat in the return game. Though, who's the receiver that they just signed from?
Oh, Xavier Thomas.
Yeah, Xavier Thomas is kind of the upperclassman that you would think would slot right into that role through the portal. All right, we'll get to your takes next. Okay, go ahead.
Real quick, one point on a guy that we might not find our way to circle back on. Ahmad Bro from Ruston is somebody that I'm intrigued by. I've heard about this guy for a long time. He's an edge guy, 6'2", 250 pounds. But I'm interested because, well, you just won a state championship for Ruston, their first one since 1990 or 91, I believe. But he's been coached by Kyle Williams during his high school career. Kyle Williams, the defensive coordinator, for Ruston High there. Of course, LSU legend, played a billion years in the NFL at an incredibly high level, made the Pro Bowl every single year. And that's somebody that he might not get the fanfare. He's 663rd in the country. And I realize a lot of people, once they get to the 3-star guys, they roll their eyes and they don't want to continue on. This is somebody that, just because of, I've seen him play, I think he's a really good player, but also who he's been coached by during his high school career. There's things that he probably already has a step above some of the guys coming in his class, and that's somebody to pay attention to that's maybe not going to get, talked about. Again, like I wanted to make sure we got that point in because we might not talk about him down the road here, but I think he could be a player that you can see the technique. Again, he's got the size and kind of call him a shot, diamond in the rough in the class. I'm going to call my shot here today.
I talked to we talked to Brooks Austin on Snaps yesterday. He's a Georgia insider, and
Y'all talk Georgia?
Yeah, imagine that. I mean, we're really he doesn't like being labeled as a Georgia insider. He does keep up with the national scene, but he is also like a Georgia insider. And he talked about that even as nice, and obviously Georgia is the number one class again. But that even as nice as all the 5-stars and everything are, that still the most successful recruiting classes are the ones where you find that those in-state hidden gems that are buried for whatever reason that you have access to that other schools do not, and so you're hitting that untapped potential. And that's like you have to be willing to take those 3-star guys that are in on you that that others don't, and he would fit. Ahmad Bro would fit that profile. And as we see, there's always one that comes away, shocks you, and it's generally the in-state guy that was added to the class somewhere late. Or maybe, the one that was like early because he just always wanted to go to LSU, and so as soon as he got the offer, he was like, yeah, absolutely, I'm there. But again, another 318 cat in this class. So you got 10 of the top 12 guys in state, maybe 11 once we get to February. It seems like LSU reportedly did not continue to pursue Wardell Mack for whatever reason, but they have stayed very much in on Dominic McKinley. And whoever the new D-line coach is, role number one, I think job number one when he gets it, or one of the main ones, is going to be making a hard push for McKinley come February. Wow, Jake, what incredible takes.
I mean, those guys, they're just the best.
I think so. And if you think so, again, hit the like button, subscribe, ring the bell so you get notifications when we post every single day here on OTB LSU.